Zack Snyder said, I want to make an R-rated Star Wars movie.
And he did not.
No, he did not.
Oh, it's time for class.
All right, we're back today, and we're going to be doing a review of Zack Snyder's new movie, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. This is a new release. It's PG-13. It's streaming exclusively on Netflix, and this is his follow-up to Army of the Dead from 2021. We watched it. It is out right now on Netflix. I'm just going to give my real quick initial thoughts. This movie feels a little bit like Blood Machines mixed with John Carter of Mars, mixed with Star Wars prequel trilogies, and at its best points, the Rogue One, spin-off, Star Wars spin-off, or I guess pre-prequel.
Yeah.
All in all, I really didn't have a good time watching this, and we'll get into our Zack Snyder rankings a little bit later. I have an entry into this amongst the fray.
Yeah.
But why don't you give us your thoughts and your initial ranking?
This is probably slightly worse than Army of the Dead, and kind of like how in your initial thoughts where you were pulling from all these other movies, I was also pulling from other movies. I got notes of Dune, I got notes of Witcher, of Star Wars, just like the world building. It's like space, sci-fi, but also we're farmers growing wheat, and we have laser swords.
It's not a lightsaber, though.
No, it's not.
Mind you, there's copyright infringement laws that we got to stress very clearly. It's not a lightsaber.
Yeah, not a lightsaber. It is just a sword that gets really hot, and it kind of looks like a lightsaber, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt kind of like a video game a little bit. Very much actually. Because they were building a party throughout the movie, collecting their fighters. All of that sounds kind of interesting, but it really kind of all added up to not much. They went with the classic trope of making the bad guys look like Nazis.
Yeah, of course.
And
they're Nazis. Oh, who knew?
The whole movie felt like a big mess. Going into this, I thought it was a Star Wars spinoff, just based on the name Rebel Moon, but it was not, and it was not based on anything. This is a supposedly original story from Zack Snyder. The world seemed rich, but I also knew nothing about it. The whole story kind of felt a little weak. It was like we're in the middle of like a revenge story, and the main character, she is semi interesting. It was kind of a bore, honestly, just because of how predictable it seemed, and also the characters, the party that they created. I feel like they didn't do anything.
No,
they did nothing. Why did we spend all this time collecting all these people for them to just sit there and do nothing? I was less than thrilled. It felt like a long movie. I was waiting for it to be over. It was like Zack Snyder saw Dune, and was like, I'm gonna do that too.
I'll echo a lot of the same sentiments.
Mm-hmm. There
is no singular vision to this. It's like the characters are versions of characters I've seen before. The story is a version of many stories I've seen before, like an amalgamation of that. The comparison he made to Dune is apt because when you watch Dune, full immersion that you get from the CG animated scenes, there's a scene where the Harkonnen are attacking Arrakis, and there's explosions happening in the background, and the entire force of soldiers are silhouetted against this ultra blown out, very high brightness explosion in the background. The first scene when you're introduced to Korra and some of the farmers, they're mimicking that in a way.
Yeah.
But you can tell it's digitally manipulated. Like they just up the contrast and lower the darkness on the digital feed, because they were trying to mimic this in-camera effect of what it looks like when your eye is looking at a blown out sun. In this case, it was a sunset.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like a real camera shot. It looked like a digitally manipulated camera shot. So all of those quote unquote real camera images, they just feel mimicked and not really executed well. The bad guy clearly dressed up as a Nazi. When he takes his Nazi coat off, he's really just dressed up like a BJ's Brew House.
Server.
Server. Yeah, he's wearing a white dress shirt that's very form-fitted, very tailored, with a skinny black tie.
I know.
The objective of the protagonist is not very clear. She used to be on the bad guy's side, and now she's on the good guy's side, and she's living a peaceful life, much like Mads Mikkelsen in Rogue One. She's like, we're gonna run away, and we're gonna go do something that's gonna help the farmers. But it's never quite clear what their objective is. Zack Snyder said, I want to make an R-rated Star Wars movie.
And he did not.
No, he did not. He failed on both fronts. This is not a Star Wars movie or R-rated.
No, it's not.
So I went into this thinking this is a Zack Snyder's attempt at a Star Wars movie. What I got was like little bits and pieces of some of the best parts of the Star Wars saga as a broad whole, but not really made in a cohesive way that made sense as a start to finish narrative. Their objectives are not clear. There's a huge range of different races, different languages, and different planets, but you never quite feel the scope of it. And it felt like a lot similar to Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they call it Nowhere. It's where they meet Benicio del Toro the first time.
Yeah.
But the dialogue also feels like every line feels like it carries a lot of weight, or it's supposed to carry a lot of weight, but just it really doesn't go anywhere.
It's like it has no effect on me.
Yeah.
Like they say it with something with great impact, or great emphasis, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, great, awesome, good for you. I'm happy for you, but it means nothing. But ultimately, like, if all of this still was not meaningful or impactful or whatever, but there was some exciting action and there was some violence to go along with it, and some like 300 was a super simple story. It was like, okay, here's the Persians coming, we are the Spartans, we are going to rebel against our like democratic sort of like government agency.
Yeah, it's like the same plot.
And we're gonna like put a little blockade here, and we're just gonna fight to the death. Yeah, it's like great, super simple. We all understand what's happening. They're over here, our homeland's over here. We're in the middle. Nothing ends until one of us turn around, right? That's how simple it was. But along the way, the simple story of 300. You had this like glorious violence and these story-like demonic sort of creatures that were the Persians, because it's being told to the remaining armies after Leonidas and his 300 had fallen. Yeah. So you get all these really cool like over-the-top exaggerations of how like evil the Persian forces were. In this, there is no grotesque violence. There is no in-your-face blood and gore or unique ways of people to die. There's a specific scene.
They have laser guns.
Yeah.
Yellow and red lasers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And one of them is this faded weapon she's given, much like the lightsaber given to Luke Skywalker, except for it's just like a Saddam Hussein gun. It's like a laser pistol that's like engraved with gold.
I know. It's like your modded out loadout in Call of Duty.
Yeah, really.
I mean, they were just like trying to mash up multiple genres, styles of movie in this one movie, like sci-fi, fantasy, Western. It didn't mean anything to me. Like it felt like I was missing material to like latch onto, to be like, oh, this means this and this means that, and this guy's from this land and he's gonna do this to them. I didn't care about anybody. The thing that made me the most upset was the fact that they got all these people. They got Jimon Hunsu from a gladiator planet, and he was in the movie Gladiator, and they put him back in his gladiator garb. He pops up, and then he gets a little clean shaven, and he helps him get to like that smuggler's area, and then nothing happens. He doesn't help at all. No, he doesn't. And then same with the other guy who the guy that looks like Donald Faison. Tarakan? Yeah, I think that's the name. And he's like, if you can tame that griffin over there, then your debt is paid. And the Hippogriff. And then and like, this is Harry Potter now. Yeah. And then he even follows the same beats. Like he bows to it, and then he rides it like in Harry Potter, and then it trusts him. And then I was hoping that it was going to be like a Chekhov's Hippogriff, like, and it was like he was going to come back at the end. It's going to come back later, but or like the eagles in Lord of the Rings. But it did not, and also he did not do anything. He was like, he didn't do anything. Like, as soon as they got him, he did nothing. He literally was not effective whatsoever. They go and visit the Borg spider for no reason. I know, the Captain EO spider. Yeah. Angelica. Wow, you just unlocked a memory. Angelica Houston. Yeah, Angelica Houston, Francis Ford Coppola directed Captain EO. And then they find these two mercenaries. One looks like Donald Faison, who's Blood Axe, and then his girlfriend. And they're the ones that Gunar sold the grain to at the very beginning of the movie. They want to go against this the Emperor or whatever, the main bad guy,
The mercenaries say, no, we don't want any part of that. That's a death sentence. A dozen of us against the entire
mother planet.
I think it's called the Mother Planet. And they say, no way, we're not going to do it. Korra yells at them, and then they change their mind.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. They're like, she's
okay,
like,
all right.
How dare you say no to us? We all need to stand together. And they go, you know what? You're right.
Actually,
Let's go fight this evil force.
You make a good point. And the only thing that anybody did really besides the main character was Gunnar. At the end, he came in clutch for everybody, and then Blood Axe.
He sacrificed himself on the ship.
Yeah, it was kind of funny watching him run up that thing because it looked like he was just jogging.
I've already heard that Snyder was reeled in a little bit from Netflix, and he wanted to have a longer cut with more action and more.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. The Creator was made for $85 million, pretty much the same price, and goddamn, is that a great looking movie. And you can argue that movie doesn't have a really unique plot or something, but at least you understand what's happening in it. You know the motivations of the characters, you know the world that they're laying out for this, and you know exactly what their intentions are.
Yeah.
And it is gorgeous. This is not a gorgeous movie. This is junk.
I guess it makes sense that I went into it thinking it was going to be Star Wars related. Because of the name, or Star Wars inspired, I should say, not related. But even the poster, it just looks like Nazis in space, alien Nazis in space.
At least in the first Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, you get to see Alderaan exploded in the first act, and you feel the real power of what you're dealing with. Here, you're like, oh yeah, I mean they got the big ships and. These guys are farmers, so what are they going to do?
Plus, that one person said, they're world destroyers.
Yeah,
I'm
real.
like, okay, I guess I'll believe you. I don't know.
Do you want to give a grade on this? What do you give this, A through F?
I mean, nothing about it was redeeming, honestly. So I'm going to it's like a D, honestly. Yeah. D for...
Middle D?
Yeah.
I'm probably in the D plus C minus range and probably leaning towards more of a D plus. Unfortunately, understand that we're going to be doing a review on part 2 when it comes out here.
Yeah, next April.
I'm already dreading it.
Because I don't care. I don't care what they do.
Yeah, no, doesn't matter. So D plus for me, D for you.
Yep, did not like. Bottom of the list for Snyder movies.
Yeah, do you have your definitive list?
I mean, Watchmen, I think, is definitely my number 1. Yeah, I really love Watchmen. Following that would probably be Man of Steel, I think.
Okay.
That one's really good. And then maybe his Justice League or Guardians would be in the 3 to 4 range. They'd be right there.
Legend of the Guardians, Al-Zakahu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? 300, and then Legend of the Guardians.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where my top Snyder movies are. I haven't seen Sucker Punch or Dawn of the Dead, so I can't say one of those. And Army of the Dead and this movie, Rebel Moon, at the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, my ranking from top to bottom, I have surprisingly Legends of the Guardian, Al-Zakahu, number 1 for me for the Zack Snyder. Then Watchmen, 300, Dawn of the Dead, which is a really top tier zombie movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, which surprised me. Zack Snyder's Justice League, very entertaining. Had no connection to that, but still entertained. Sucker Punch was fun, and then Army of the Dead was okay, and then Rebel Moon was far and away at the bottom. Yeah. So, all right. So that is Rebel Moon. Listeners, what did you think about this movie? Are we high right now? Are we being way too mean on your boy Zack Snyder, or is the hate justified?
Is this a cinematic masterpiece, or are we stupid?
This is ranked as a 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb currently.
Seems high.
With about 10,000 ratings, and I gotta say that seems pretty high. So,
yeah.
I mean, are we being unfair to this, or is this something that we need to remedy? So, all right, weigh in the comments. Let us know how we're wrong or we're right, and we'll see you on the next new release review.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week. See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.